Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Viva Cafe con Leche. It is one of those mornings. We got started a little bit late. I've also been starting purposefully a little bit late because Gladiator Guru doesn't seem to get to her destination and hooked up in time for 8 o'clock. So we've been starting a little after 8. I apologize for those that jump on so quickly. So good morning to Gail and the Empowering Process podcast. We so appreciate that you are here. And thank you so much for being here. And welcome everybody to Thursday's Viva Cafe con Leche. It is the last day of the month. And on Facebook as well. I know I went to once again log in, or when we started the show, Facebook booted us off. So luckily it's getting faster to be able to get it back on. I kind of figured out a couple of little tricks, so it doesn't seem to even look like it wasn't on Facebook. But good morning to everyone that is on this morning, which is really just Gail and Facebook and YouTube so far. So let me get onto our Facebook page so that I can be ready for individuals that come on that do not say hello. That is the only way we see them. So hold on a second. I have not heard from Gladiator Guru yet, so I have no idea where she is or what's happening. Let me just do a quick thing. Okay. Hopefully she's okay and everything is fabulous. So, it's your split personality. That's that's great, Gail. I love it. So let me type in at Gail on Facebook. All right. So today's the last day of May. We are ending our push month. And our push month has been about pushing you beyond your limits, pushing you out of your comfort zone, and getting you to actually believe that anything is possible. Good morning, Kathy. Happy that you are here, because life is too short and, it's not a guarantee. So we need to make the best of what we have. We need to push forward. And when we actually push ourselves, and I know that, Gail, you don't like to use that term. You don't like to use push, but it's really semantics. Whatever you define as getting yourself to move, taking action. When we do that, and we actually see what we're capable of doing, especially when we go beyond what we thought we could even do. It's just sort of like running, if like somebody signs up for a 5K, and they're not really runners, and they just said, well, it's a good cause and I'm going to try it. And then they get to the end of the line, they feel very empowered. And they might not have made great time, and they might not have run the whole entire time, but they finished. Sometimes that's just what it is. It's to finish what it is that you started. But sometimes for some people, it's just starting. We do what's comfortable for us. We do what's within the glass ceiling, as it said, to break beyond the glass ceiling, to get out of that comfort zone. So we do what's in our comfort zone, and then we feel good because we accomplished something, but it's only up to that glass ceiling. It's new experiences or doing things bigger and better or above and beyond what we used to do. That's when we really can test ourselves. So the easiest way to do that would be to do things that that you've always wanted to do, but we're a little bit nervous about doing it. I think I had always wanted to go whitewater rafting. And the reason I was a little nervous about whitewater rafting was the fact that I'm not a great swimmer. I mean, I can hold my own, but there was always this little worry that, oh my God, I'm going to fall out of the boat. I'm going to hit my head and blah, 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 And when we came to Tennessee for our trip to look around and see if this is where we wanted to live, we did this 2 summers ago. I took the kids whitewater rafting. It was just me and the two kids. And we had an absolute great time. That was the whole point, was to just be adventurous, and the irony is that my youngest daughter did fall out of the boat. The guy that was leading us had her do this really silly thing because it was her birthday. So they make the kids, or they allow the kids to ride right at the bow, like sit right at the bow. The thing is that most of the boats were letting the kids sit at the bow on the calm water. Well, our guide, I think he was just young and a little ego, his little ego was driving him, but he had her sit at the bow when we were still in some of the whitewater. And in my head, I'm going, I don't think that's a good idea, but I didn't speak. And sure enough, we went up like this. My daughter went down like that and fell right into the water, and the boat hit her in the head. And luckily, she was fine. Like, it didn't hit her hard. And the couple that was with us, the husband, was able to reach down and like yank her up really quickly. And I'm so grateful to them for that. And she was fine. It didn't freak her out. She's not afraid to go back on whitewater. In fact, she jokes about it. But it was, my thought of what was going to happen actually did happen, but it happened to my daughter. But that's not the lesson here. The lesson is just try. Now, does that prevent us from doing whitewater again? No, not at all. We would, in fact, we were talking about doing it next week, but my middle daughter was like, nah, I'd rather go kayaking. So think about something that you can do this weekend that pushes you. So like, let's say you like to hike, or let's say you like to take walks in nature, but you've never done something really hard, then do that. Let's say you do things that are really hard, go further. Okay. Put yourself into a situation where you have to absolutely positively, like if it's a 6-mile trek, you got to finish it, because if you walk 3 miles, you got to walk 3 miles back. So you can't quit. Use that as a metaphor. Good morning, Dawn. My beautiful Dawn is on. Let me see what Gail put. So Gail said, this month I've decided what my rebrand is like, my offerings, my products, and my audience. Perfect. So and this is because Gail has been working on herself. Gail has been moving forward, taking action. And just a reminder that June is actually the take action month. What we wanted you to do for May was to push yourself beyond what you thought was possible. So this way in June, you take much action. Good morning, Milagros. Good morning, Lorene. Lorene's in the house as well. And Gladiator Guru is coming, I guess. I don't know. I haven't heard from her at all this morning. I'm actually a little concerned. Usually she sends me a text. She might not be in any type of range, so she might be behind schedule. Hopefully she'll be able to join us. We have one more day left of May. One more day left. And now to need to take action to define in May. That's right, Gail. So there, Gail is right on with us, because she's making the changes for May, and then she's pushing herself for June. So yes, absolutely. And you know what? We'll be your accountability partner for you to take action. I've already seen you doing that, Gail, because I've seen you going up on Facebook and doing your talks, which is great. And you've been getting a lot of views, which is wonderful. But it's about deciding, this is it. This is my life. I either have to push myself now, or just say, forget it. Let me tell you what specifically the conversation is today. So today is the last day of the month. It is called Building Stamina. Building Stamina. That's probably not a great title. Building Stamina should have been somewhere earlier in the month, but it's not too late to build stamina. In order for you to go for the long haul, you have to have that stamina. What is that defined as? It's mental stamina, it's emotional stamina, it's physical stamina. As we get older, we have a tendency to not move as much. We have a tendency to not push ourselves physically as much. So we get weaker. That's just the way the body works. The body goes along with what stresses you're putting upon it. And I don't mean in a bad way. I mean good stresses. And so for those of you that are older and have noticed that you have gotten weaker, that you are not as strong as you used to be physically, that you can't walk as far as you used to, push yourself to do it. Push yourself to do it. I work out a couple times a week. My sister actually works out. Gosh, she works out like 4 or 5 times a week. She's 8 years older than I am. She has got such definition on her arms now. Her butt is popping out, which is funny because my sister was always the skinny stick of a person. She looks like she has like a 10-year-old body with boobs. And we joke about that. She says that herself all the time. But she's been working out, and she's a runner. She used to run marathons, and then she stopped for a long time. But she's getting that stamina back, you know. And when you go hiking with her, she just moves. She just goes. Now, she hikes differently than I do. She just likes to get to her destination as quickly as possible, where I like to get to my destination, but I want to also observe what's around me. And that's fine, but I still need stamina to do the things that I do, even that. So here on our farm, I'm happy to say that we are actually becoming a working farm. We finally started planting our crops. I sound so official when I say that, right? We created an 80 by, well, it's about 100-foot by 80-foot garden. Okay. I wanted it bigger. My neighbor talked me out of it, thank God, because after working on this one, I'm like, yeah, because what I wanted to actually have him plow was double the size of this thing. So I'm definitely not ready for that. I definitely will need some help. But it has been an interesting test of patience, having to deal with the weather, because the weather has not been cooperative. Because if it rains, you can't till it. The dirt down here clay is really hard to work with when it's wet, and it's hard to work with when it's dry. It's not like up north where the dirt, even when it hasn't rained in a while, the dirt beneath is kind of moist and you can till it. This isn't the case here. So, but we do have nice dirt. But the ideas that I had, how to put together the crop, how I wanted to plant everything, became, I sketched it out. I watched videos. I decided, like, this is how I'm going to do it. And then, of course, you start to do it, and it doesn't always go the way you want it to, So you can't just do it and then say, okay, forget this isn't working, and throw your hands up. I put it in a certain way so that everything would get watered. The hoses that I use don't seem to be working out. So plan B. There always has to be a plan A, plan B, plan C. There could be all the way to a plan Z. You have to be able to do that so that you can redirect yourself. We can't forget the fact that we are resilient. We can't forget the fact that we are tougher than we give ourselves credit for, that we have more stamina than we give ourselves credit for. And whatever we don't have, we can build up to. So to say that working on that crop, that garden, whatever you want to call it, has not been physically challenged is an understatement. It slopes a little bit, not a lot, but it slopes a little bit, and it slopes in two directions. So it slopes this way. So our rows are going long ways, but also slopes a little bit backwards. So, and because I injured my knee a couple of months ago, my knee is not exactly where it needs to be. So it's not, I can't like sit in certain positions like I had before. So I had to find alternate ways. And in the beginning, it was frustrating the crap out of me. But then I found another way, and I'm like, okay, this is fine. But it's physically demanding. And while I did have help from my children, and my sister too helped on one day, it's still, I had to do a lot of the work because they don't know what they're doing, and it's hard to, it has to go slow. So it was fine for me to do it. But it was definitely challenging, and I'm not done yet. I still have to plant more stuff. But good morning, Desiree. But the bottom line is that I'm looking at this, I could put all this work in, right? And in the end, I might not get any harvest, like I could be doing everything right and still not get, or at least what I think is right, and still not get the harvest. Will that tell me, oh, forget it, this is just too labor intensive, I'm not going to do this next year? Not even a little bit. It's trial and error. It's what worked, what didn't work, what do I need to do differently? And already I'm saying to myself, I want to go bigger. Like, I want to actually make this bigger and have a section where it's just berries, So I'm already thinking beyond that. I'm thinking beyond my limits. But I also know that I definitely can't do this myself. I have to start sooner with the tilling. Thank God for my neighbor. My neighbor's got all the big tools, And he just comes over in his tractor and has the plow pulling behind, and then he has the tiller pulling behind. And I love him so much. I really appreciate him. So if I'm going to go bigger, he definitely has to help, or have to get the equipment myself, which is pretty expensive. But I know I can't do it myself, which means that I'm going to have to reach out to my tribe down here and see, hey, we're going to be doing this day. And again, have to go by the weather. And then we're going to, this is what I want to accomplish. So Nancy, good morning. So I could have barely any crop, but next year will be better. Next year I will make more effort. Next year I will understand the land better. Next year I will, whatever. But I'm hopeful, I'm hopeful that this will take hold, because I'm excited about being able to pick my own stuff. And, when we're talking about organic, that's what I planted. I planted either heirloom or organic. So that's the good stuff. I'm using everything I've done so far is organic. So I'm staying true to what I want to accomplish. And we're not done yet with what we still need to do to the rest of the property. We still need to get our chickens. We still need to expand things and fix things and make parking spaces for my patients and so on and so forth. And it's about saying, you know what, I can do this. I could do this. So June, it will be absolutely, not that May was not my take action month. June will absolutely be my take action month. So I want to just acknowledge what everybody's saying. So this is what Gail wrote. Gail says, I have learned to give myself permission to review what I'm doing each month and permission to change my mind at any time if it is not working. Pivot. Yes. For those of you that like Friends, that's one of my favorite scenes in the Friends show. Pivot, when they're trying to get the couch up the steps. It's hilarious. If you've never watched Friends or you don't remember that scene, just YouTube Friends pivot scene, especially the blooper scene. It's even funnier. But it's absolutely correct. It's pivot, and then we'll add Gail's other word is flow. Because when something's not working, it's not saying to drop it immediately. It's try it, find other ways. There are times where you've tried other ways and it's still not working. Then you will have to pivot completely off of it because it's not because when you're constantly meeting resistance, okay, life is simple, but it's not easy. You will hit resistance. There will always be something that pops up. And that's the point of stamina. That's the point of building yourself stamina and understanding that you are stronger than you believe yourself to be, that we are resilient. Our bodies remember, okay? Our physical body remembers. It remembers emotionally and mentally. We have something called muscle memory. Muscle memory is triggered by the usage of your muscles, but also mental and emotional stimulation. And that's why sometimes you can actually meditate and see yourself doing something and be in that moment. And it can actually trigger the muscles or the brain, in the same way that actually doing that physical thing can do. I can't think of my words this morning. So you have it in you. If you're not as strong as you used to be physically, or if you don't have as much stamina physically, then you build up to it. If you don't use it, you lose it. That's with anything, okay? That's our mental capacity, our emotional capacity, our physical capacity. So push yourself. Why not? Why not? Are you ready to give up? Are you ready to just sit on your front porch and rock in your chair? Well, you know what? I have a hell of a front porch. I mean, I really do. It's beautiful for that. You have a beautiful scenery, what you're seeing, but I'm not ready to do it all the time. I'm ready to do it every so often. I'm ready. In fact, we have one of those little glider chairs. I'm ready to sit there with a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and sit there and enjoy or eat something out on the table out there. But I'm not ready to do that every single day. And I will drive by, people's houses where I see people sitting on their front porches all the time. And they're my age, younger, and I drive by enough to know that they do it all the time. And I see by the way that their house and yard looks is that they do it all the time. And I'm not saying it to be judgmental. It's observational. I look at that and say, that's their journey, but I don't want it to be mine. I want to keep going. I want to keep doing. I want to get things to a certain level where I don't have to do as much of it maintenance. I want to maintain. I don't want to do the rigorous hard stuff until I have to, but it's getting there. It takes time. This whole year is nothing but rigorous for me. It is building up my business. It is getting myself known and out there. It is starting new adventures that I've never done before. It is becoming a farmer. It is becoming, stepping into things that I never thought I never thought, it's not that I ever thought was possible. And it's not that I ever thought I wouldn't do it. Built deep down inside, I have always been a farmer. Like, it's funny. I was talking to a couple the other day, and they're from, they're both from California, and they weren't originally from there, but they both moved there when they were really young. And they've been here about, let me see, I can't remember how many years they said. I think around 3 or 4 years. And the husband says, I said to my mother, I said to my mother, I'm mad at you for not giving birth to me in Tennessee, because this is where I've always belonged. Like, this is, and I laughed because literally just a few days prior to, or actually I've been saying it a few times, I've said this to people. I've said, I feel like I have lived here my whole life. Like, I feel like this is exactly like where I was meant to be, I was here and somebody took me away and now I'm back. That's how I feel. So I laughed when he said that. And I said, I feel the same exact way. So it's when you find your place where you want to be, and sometimes where you want to be isn't just one place. Sometimes it's traveling, it's moving, it's being nomadic for a little while. But if you're feeling that longing, and the way is either you've become very stagnant and very routine, and you're not, and you have to say that each day you're not that happy, then that's when you have to shift. That's when you have to pivot and flow, like Gail says. So you have to do that. And it will feel uncomfortable. It was a little nerve-wracking the first time I loaded my car and put my 2 kids and my 2 dogs into the car for a cross-country trip back in 2021. It was nerve-wracking because, number one, I've never done it before. Number two, I was the adult. I was the one in charge. I had an 18-year-old who was not in a good headspace. Actually, she was 17. She was just coming out of a very bad depression. Good morning, Nikki. And she was kind of useless for me. She wasn't that helpful. She just sat with her headphones in the front seat and didn't really, for the 3 weeks that we were away, 3.5 weeks. So I was in charge, and it was scary. I had a dog that, if you just opened the door, he would take off. And so all these things would play in my head. And I thought to myself, I got to put it out, I got to trust in the process. Like if that dog got out, then I'll do my best to catch him, but he's not that kind of dog. He just goes, it doesn't come to you. And, but that it is what it is. And the thing is that none of that happened. Like the dog managed to just know not to jump out of the car. It was pretty cool. And he enjoyed himself on the trip. My middle daughter ended up being, after a few days, she started to come out. It still was back and forth, but she found her place a couple of times. And we ended up having such a good time. She didn't say she had a good time. In fact, we got home and she just went right back into her room. And but it wasn't until about 2 years later that we had a conversation, and she said, I really liked that. I really liked that road trip. That was pretty cool. When we did the road trip the next year, and we packed the 2 dogs in, and we went to, in 2022, we went to Kentucky and Tennessee. My daughter was definitely more out of her shell. She was experiencing more. and she was getting it, but it was scary the first time I did it. The second time I did it was nothing, it's like, okay, now I know what not to bring, what to bring, what did we have to get while we were there? I don't want to have to buy things that, it's a learning curve. We're never too old to learn. And don't get frustrated and say, well, I should know this by now. I've done that before. I've should on myself. And I said, oh, I'm 54 years old. I should have understood this by now. I should have had this by now. Enough already. We talked about this on Tuesday's show that, I'm getting ready to sell my rental property, and whatever money I make from it, I need to make sure that this money sits where it needs to sit, because I eventually want to reinvest it, but it's probably not going to be enough to reinvest it right now. So I know me, okay? I'm not great with finances. So, and for people to say, oh, you don't say that because it's negative. I get that, because a lot of personal development people do that. They'll say, well, you put that out there. I'm not putting it out there to say that forget it, I'm not great. I'm being honest with myself and saying, okay, this is a challenge for me. So I have to go to people for assistance that know this stuff. So I actually had a conversation with one of the guys that I network with, and he's an real estate agent. And I called him because I needed to know about capital gains tax and how it is over here, and so on and so forth. And so he walked me through some stuff, and then he talked to me about Connecticut, and he doesn't know a lot about Connecticut, but he said he could find out for me. And that's the beauty of it, is he's just doing this out of the kindness of his heart. He's not charging me for anything, he's just that nice of a guy. Actually, I take that back. He's not the real estate guy. He's the tax guy. And what does that mean for me? That means that I am looking for a tax person here in Tennessee. So, because I finished up in Connecticut taxes for last year. So guess who I'm probably going to call? It's not even a probably. I really like him. He's very cool. Good morning, Tiffany. So we forge these relationships, or we create connections when we know that we can't do certain things on our own, and then we ask for help. And it's not, yes, there's vulnerability in that. And then there's, because it's embarrassing for me to admit at 54 that I am not good at my finances, and that I'm really worried that once this, that I'm going to blow through whatever money I get. So I became vulnerable to 3 people: the finance guy, another guy who does estate planning, and he also does budgeting, and then this other guy, the tax guy. And I was honest, and I said, I need help, and I don't want to make the same mistakes that I made. This is the only part of my life that I still have to work on, because all the other pieces, the physical, my 7 core pillars that I use, my 7 pillars of self, physical, the physiological, the mental, emotional, the social, the spiritual, and the financial. And the financial, that last pillar, is the one that I still need to work on. And now I have taken action. So June will truly be a take action month for me in so many ways. It's closing off a lot of things that I'm still connected to in Connecticut. It's really pushing my business. It's getting things set up so that the rest of the year I can just focus on specific things. So the goal is July, August, September, all the way to December is just push, build, not have to do all the hard pieces, like creating a space that my patients can walk in very easily. So creating 2 parking spaces with a walkway so that they can go right to the front entrance as opposed to coming around to the side entrance first, and leading them to where they need to be. That is what's going to be done. And it will be finished within 2 weeks. So it'll be done. And then all I have to do is maintain it. Just have to make sure it looks nice, and so on and so forth. So let's see. I want to keep, let me see what Gail wrote. In San Diego, there's nothing but clay. So many times I planted in pots, even outside, worked out well. Nice. I need a lot of pots for that particular plot of land that I've, but you know what the key thing is, Gail? I'm going to tell you, is preparation, right? And it's just like anything in life. It's preparation. If you prepare properly, I didn't prepare properly for this because I just wasn't ready for it. But next year I will be, because preparation starts in the fall. So once everything starts to die off, I'm going to till everything up. I'm going to collect all the manure that has been being dropped in my lower pasture by the horse and 2 mules. And I'm going to also purchase fresh, nice, topsoil and organic topsoil, and also till it in there, and then get another layer of topsoil in the spring, and then start from scratch. So it's building. It's a little costly, but I'm on the way. And then if I could only figure out a way to take the spring that we have at the bottom of the yard and pump that water up to the garden, I'd be happy as a clam. I'm going to tell you that right now. So yes, let's see. Gail says, when I visit late summer, we will begin prepping for winter and next spring. Honey, we'll be eating those vegetables. The growing season is very long over here. And since I'm starting so late, I hope you like tomatoes, because I have planted an obscene amount of tomatoes, and I've always been very good with tomatoes. So I'm anticipating that. Let's see. Desiree said, I can hear the hope and excitement in your voice. Yeah, it is, because I'm seeing beyond. I'm finally breaking that glass ceiling. And I've struggled with this for many, many years. I've gotten far in the last, let me see, my dog. Hold on a second. I've gotten far in the last few years, but then when you really get pushed up against that glass ceiling, like I was able to move my glass ceiling up, but then I put it to a certain level, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I can't go past that. Good morning, Natasha. It's more of those, okay, you know what? I'm done with that story. I'm done with that story. I don't want that to be that story anymore. I know what's possible. I know what I'm capable of. And now it's a matter of just making it happen and living the life that makes me happy. Let's see. Gail says, I feel my heart pull in different directions. Yeah. And the beauty is that I'm going to assume, based on what you wrote, that it's a good pull though, right? Because sometimes people say, my heart's being pulled in different directions, but it's like a sadness, My heart, my passion, because passion is part of that, is being pulled in different directions because I am a multifaceted person. So I've learned to accept that. For a while I thought, we did mention this not too long ago. I remember saying, hearing business people telling me, oh no, you have to niche, you can't be a jack of all trades. It's a waste to be a jack of all trades. You have to focus on one thing. And I beat myself up about this because I am a jack of all trades. Like, jack of all trades, master at nothing. Oh, that's a terrible thing to be. But then I thought to myself, but what if that's the good part? Like, what if that is what makes me great, is the fact that I am a jack of all trades? And that if I decided to master one of them, all I have to do is shift my focus to that one. Maybe the reason I didn't shift my focus is because that wasn't that fully interesting to me. It's just like the fact that I am a very extroverted person, but I also have my introverted moments. And I learned that when I'm very extroverted all day, if I'm out and about and talking and networking and meeting and doing this, that at the end of the day, I got nothing left. I have to sink into myself and be quiet and calm and don't talk to anybody. And I'm okay with that, So putting myself into many directions is, I'm okay with that. I really, really am okay with that, because that's me. I get bored sometimes of stuff, but the interesting is always root back around. I'll go this way, but then I root back around and go this way. And then I have a different perspective, or I'm even clearer on something. So let's see. What else we have? Desiree says, I love that you did this. Thank you so much, Desiree. I see you such a potted plate right now. You're just glowing from that vitamin D. I know it helps to get the sunlight. Yes, that's one thing I've been loving. You might want to create planting boxes, box in the area so your soil does not run off. Planting boxes is a possibility. The problem, I thought about it, but I want to be able to till up the crop. Like, understand, this is a very big space. We're talking 100 by, what I say, 100 by like 75, something like that. 100 by 6, I can't remember. It's a big space of land. So planting boxes are good if I'm going to do it in a different spot. No, I'm just going to be just like the farmers down here. I'm just going to plow it. And I think next year, actually, I won't do mounds. I did mounds this year. I did a mound with a soaker hose running through and paper. It's called, they call it mulch. It's not like mulch that we know. It's they have plastic mulch. I kept seeing the farmers that with the big crops have this plastic running down. I didn't want to use plastic, so I looked for something that was biodegradable and no chemicals, and I found paper mulch. Very hard to work with though. So each of my mounds have paper mulch, and then I popped holes into the paper mulch and planted my seedlings, and now I'm going to plant my seeds. So at the end of the growing season, I will pull the soaker hoses out and then till up everything, including the paper if I want to, because it's biodegradable. It's actually made out of vegetables. So plant boxes, I think I'm going to do that for the herbs, because I'm not going to put the herbs in with the garden. Okay. But thank you for the, you'll see when you get here. You'll see when you get here. I think it would have been a lot of money to add those. And then I would have had to till each one by hand. My biggest concern right now is once I plant everything, I'm going to have to fence it. And that's going to be, I think it's going to be about $500 to fence it because of the critters. Actually, I'm more worried about my dog. My dog keeps running through it. So that's really annoying me. But anyway, I'm going to double check to see if Gladiator Guru did get back to me. Oh, no, she said, it's all me today. I haven't arrived and I'm currently in front of a house stretching the phone towards them for a signal to send this. They walked 24 kilometers today and not on purpose. Oh my goodness, 24 kilometers today and not on purpose. So she must be very exhausted. So I apologize for those of you that like having Gladiator Guru on here and not just me. So hopefully those of you that are on and do look forward to having her on, you'll stay on anyway. Because again, this is the last day of the month. This is, what did I put in here? I said it's called Building Stamina, but the description is making it better, harder, faster, stronger. So if you know which song I'm talking about with that one, little Kanye West. I do love that song, by the way. It's a little dirty, but I think that's kind of why I like it. But Kathy, you're so sweet. Thank you so much. So, you know, the beauty is that we all have it within us, whether we believe it or not. That's why we have to listen to things that push us. We have to hold on a second. Sorry. We have to push ourselves. We have to find people to push us to, because there's so many people that are really wonderful to us. The people that the tribe, like our own personal tribe, the people that believe in you, the people that know what you're capable of, they will push you. So when you are feeling low, when you feel like you can't go any further, they will say, I know you got this. You can do this. And then you start to push yourself more. You'll start to believe in yourself. You start to say, yes, I'm capable of that. And if you do have a setback, you have those other people to sit there and say, it's just a setback. Or let's just sit for a moment and pause and take a moment. Remember, we said this month that sometimes it's not about go, 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 right? What did we say the other day? We said, push it fast and hard. Okay. That's taking the action, going out of the comfort zone, pushing it at full speed, and then there's pushing it slow and soft. Because sometimes you do have to take a moment. You have to slow it down. You have to redirect yourself. You have to make sure that you're going in the right direction. Sometimes when we're going too fast and we're on a roll, you miss where you're actually supposed to be going. And that's why you have to be careful. When you can master going fast and hard, but also being emphatically aware of your surroundings and where you're going and who you are, that is where you have completely aligned with yourself. Because when you can be running and see ahead and say, oh, it's going to curve to the side, and I don't want to go straight, I need to curve to the side, then you do it. You run as fast as you can and you curve to the side, versus people who just, I got to run, I got to get there as fast as I can, and then they just completely miss that turn off. I've done all of it. I have done the run fast and not pay attention. I have also done the slow and steady wins the race, but doesn't always win the race because you never get there. And I have done the sit down on my butt and just like, not want to move, you know? And I've learned so much about myself. You know, I've learned when I can push myself. I've learned when I have to take a break. I pay attention to when I'm starting to get into a bad headspace. I'm more vocal about that. I give myself space and grace. It isn't always pretty. You know, I'm still working on the parts where I can get real snippy, you know, when I'm starting to get into that bad headspace or I'm really tired. So I have to learn not to be that way. You know, I have to apologize when I'm a little snippy to my kids because I'm tired or I'm frustrated. I have to be vulnerable with them and say, I'm not in a good space because, you know, this is what's going on. I tend to, one of the things I do notice about myself is that when I'm worried about finances or finances are low, I'm very moody. I'm very controlled. My emotions are very triggered by that. So I need to work more on myself. I have to work, but it's not I need, I have to work more on myself about that. But the other piece there is not focusing on working on myself to be better emotionally when my finances are low. It's to say, why do I allow them to get low in the first place? You know, what do I keep doing that creates that? So if I create, not if I prevent that from happening, you know, if I just keep moving in a better direction and make better choices, then I won't feel that way. Now, also knowing that shit happens. You know, I have a cousin, such a wonderful guy, like gorgeous, sweet, educated, very good at what he does, makes amazing money. He's in finance. And he got divorced, and his ex like completely devastated his finances. Like, you know, he's still doing well, but it's something he never expected because he never thought he'd ever get divorced. You know, stuff happens. Even as we prepare, we never know. So that's why we have to shift, flow, pivot, flow, always be aware, always know our own strength, always know that if we get knocked down, we can get back up, just brush ourselves off and get back up. And sometimes we do need somebody to help us up, but that's us. That's who we are. The moment you give up on that and say, forget it, then then forget it, you know? Don't take people down with you. If you choose to not go further in your life, if you choose to say, oh, I'm old, forget it, it's too late. If you choose that, be okay with your choice. Because if you're not okay with your choice, you're going to be miserable. And then misery loves company, so you're going to pull people down with you. If they're not there already with you, maybe that's why you're there. If you are with people who are miserable and they don't have any goals, they don't have any vision, you're going to stay there. And the question is that what you want? Are you complaining that you're with these people, but in reality, it's giving you all the permission in the world to stay exactly where you are? I know all that because I've done it all. So that's why when somebody's telling me that, oh, I can't do this, or, I'm just this is just not getting any better, I don't want to hear it. Gladiator Guru always talks about how she's the tough one and I'm more of the sweet one. Not always. Not always. I am, really with my clients, I am very kind-hearted, but I'm not going to hold, I'll hold their hand, I'll push them, I'll pull them, I'll cheerlead for them, but I'm not going to not call them out on their crap, because I'm doing them a disservice if I don't do that. I have to be called out on my crap. And when somebody calls you out on your stuff and it pisses you off, that's when you have to say to yourself, maybe I'm pissed off because they're right. Maybe they're not, but sit with that. If they get you mad, somebody gets you mad about something, ask yourself, why am I getting angry about this? What lesson am I to have to learn here? Because that is what's going to help push you further. Desiree says, let me see, what is soft and slow sounds incredible right now. Yes, it does. Everything. So Desiree says, everything is as it is intended by God, in my opinion. Her journey will take her away. Maybe there will be times when yours will take you away. I'm grateful for the show, and I'm grateful for you too. Oh, thank you. And we're happy that you're here, Desiree. We missed you. We haven't seen you in a bit. Just like making love. Sometimes slow and easy is the way, other times fast and hard. That's right. Gail, that is exactly why we had those titles. We were hoping people would get that, but Desiree says, I am that way as well. Financially triggered, anxiety over, I get short and cranky with my family. I stay away. And Desiree says, I unlocked fear of success with my therapist last week. Yes. Fantastic. Fantastic. It is so wonderful to be able to unlock your fears. And then what's best is once you unlock it, okay, as days progress, you look at it and go, why? Like, why? Why did I allow that? Why did I put up with that? Because you're in such a different place. I still am sort of blown away by that. Like when I come to a new element of my understanding of myself, and then I look back at something and I'll say, oh my God, why did I allow that all those years? Like, why was I okay with somebody talking to me like that? Why was I okay for somebody treating me like that? Why was I okay for treating myself like that, talking to myself like that? So I can't just blame it on other people. Like, why was I okay for staying that way, for behaving that way? So it's just been nothing but a massive path of enlightenment. And it's been a joy being on it this whole time. And I see Nancy says, hi, I have an empty canvas right now. I'm looking for a part-time job and have no idea what I want to do. It's such a great feeling to venture out to see what my next journey will be. Nancy, that's wonderful. That last statement is perfect, because you could have gone so many different ways. I'm looking for a part-time job and have no idea what I want to do. You put an exclamation point, which you're excited about it. And it's such a great feeling to venture and see what your next journey is. And I would have added 2 extra exclamation points on that one, because it is, people lose their jobs. Yes, it's scary because it's financial. You know why it's scary? Because we're not prepared. That's usually, I think a lot of fear when something ends or changes. The reason we get so upset is because we really aren't prepared. It's just like somebody who's ill. You know if they're ill. And if a person is devastated after the person dies. See, I'm going to be very careful with this. This is not meant as a judgment. It's an observation. I've gone through losing people. I've watched people suffer. And I'm very careful about, I use discernment as much as possible, but I've seen people know somebody's ill, they don't really, I don't know, they behave a certain way. And then when the person dies, it's like they never knew it was coming. To me, that's just, I don't know what that is. Actually, I don't even want to put a name on it. The only thing I will say is that it's preparation. It's like saying, I have money in the bank. And then if you lose your job, you're like, you know what, we're going to be okay because I had money. I have money in there. Not for that reason, but I had money in there and I'm prepared. So we're going to see where this journey takes me. It gets a little scary when you start depleting that and it's not getting filled back up again because of a loss of job. That's a different story. Take one step at a time. It's like preparing your house properly. And if a storm blows through, you're like, okay, I'm prepared for this. I have my insurance. I know who to call. I know where the number is. I know where my policy is. Or I did this and this. A storm is coming. Let me board my windows. Let me take in all my furniture from outside. Let me secure the premises. That's preparing. And then you tend to get less damage. Sometimes you're never prepared. And that's where the mental and emotional preparedness needs to come in, to where you say, you know what, I lost everything. People who have that happen when a tornado runs through, I lost everything. Okay, shift or pivot and flow. I'm going to clean up this mess. I'm going to redo. I'm going to just start from scratch. So Nancy, good for you. I can't wait to hear what's happening with you. Good morning, Janine. I see you. Desiree says, I miss you all so much. Sleep has taken my life over, up all night and sleeping late. Okay, but you needed to do that. You can always listen to us after. You don't need to listen to us live, Desiree. You know that. I'm blown away by that too. And when I'm afraid, why am I afraid of success? Every time I've gotten to a point of it, I have blown it up. Yep, that's me, my friend. Yep, better late than never. Gail says, that's why when I knew my cat was going, I brought my sleeping bag up and slept with him and supported him until he passed. Exactly. When I knew my dad was going to be passing, I spent as much time as I could with him. I was his part-time caregiver. I mean, I did stuff for him, but that was separate. Being daughter and enjoying time with him was separate, So sometimes when I was showering him, I would joke around with him or we would tell jokes. So I wanted that quality. But when he was bedridden for the last, 3 weeks of his life, I started playing Italian songs. Like he used to love listening to Italian songs. We would dance. I would dance around, we would sing songs together, and you could see the joy it brought him and it brought me joy. Do I miss him? Yeah, I do. Just talking about it will get me a little choked up, but it's a missing. It's not a devastation. Oh, I froze for a second. I was talking with my sister in the kitchen and I said that, Dad would have really liked this place. He really would have liked this place. It's so, he loved the outdoors. He didn't like to be outdoors, but he loved space. He loved animals. He would have been the person that would have been sitting on the front porch and watching us do all the work. And I would have been fine with that. If I could have traded that and said, you know what, Dad's still alive. Let's bring him down here, live with us. I would have said it in a heartbeat, he would have liked it. So it's sad because he can't experience this because, we got this after he had already passed, and even prior to, I don't think he would have been able to really enjoy it as much, but anyway, so we are on the top of the hour. So let me see. Desiree said, it's like I'm expecting the shoe to drop. So I grab it from the air, throw it down before it has a chance to drop to catch me by surprise. Yes, that's exactly what self-sabotaging behaviors do. I'm embarrassed to say this because it makes me feel very vulnerable. I know how to stop that pattern. I don't either because I haven't been able to stop it for that. But the key is keep working on it. You're doing the right thing. You're working with a therapist. There are financial coaches out there, like people that help you get past that. Gail might be somebody that you want to talk to and work with. I mean, you could work with me for coaching, but that one is a tough one for me. So you got to get to the heart of, most of it stems from our childhood. I mean, most of it stems from our beliefs in ourselves and what we deserve. Money is a type of what you deserve, and if you don't believe that you fully deserve that, I mean, I've gotten to the levels of what I deserve. I believe, to be happy. I deserve to be with people that are kind. I deserve to with people that are trustworthy, that respect me. So I've built my way, and now I'm at that end stage where I have to say, I deserve to be financially free. I deserve to be financially independent, because those are two things that I've struggled with. Either I was the one people were depending on, or I was the one depending on others. And when people were depending on me, there was a lot of resentment because they were mooching off of me. And I'm very, like, I get disgusted with the idea of mooching, which is why I overcompensate. Like, if I can't afford something financially, I will compensate as much as possible by busting my ass to do anything else, if I don't have the money to pay for it. So it's like busting my ass, fixing things, busting my ass, doing physical work. I want to just let that go. And so that's the end piece of my transition. And my goal, my part of my vision board is to really let all of that go this year. This is the end of it this year. So make a declaration and say, you're out by this year. You're out by the end of this year. Let's see. Gail says, you're building a life in honor of your dad. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks, Gail. That's a nice way to look at it. I didn't even think about it that way. Love working with trauma and deep beliefs. Yeah, Gail is really good at that. Gail is really doing the spiritual thing. And sometimes it's a combination. You sometimes have to work with a few people, listen to a lot of stuff. Go on YouTube and listen to, type in breaking financial, self-sabotaging financial beliefs or whatever, you put it in whatever way you want it, and listen to it. Some of it is bullshit, I will say. But some of it's not, and you have to hear it over and over again. In fact, you know what, Desiree? I'm going to do that too. I'm actually going to start doing that, because I did it for a little while. And I wasn't really feeling it, but I think I know I'm in a different place now, and I'm ready for it. So I just want to take it in. I want to just finally free myself from that stuff. So I'm going to start doing that. They could be affirmations as well. You could do subliminal stuff, just say, I'm done. I'm done with that. I used to have a mantra that I used to say when I would do public speaking for my events. And I would say, I'm done. I'm ready. I surrender. I'm done, meaning the declaration of, I am so done with this and that in my life. Needs to go. I'm ready for the change to occur, and I surrender to the process. So that's what that means. I'm done. I'm ready. I surrender. I haven't said that mantra in a really long time, but and hang it on your wall. I used to tell my clients to hang it on their wall. So I guess I need to follow my own advice. All right. Well, thank you everybody for staying on today. For those of you that came on, I appreciate it. We will be back on Tuesday, which will be June. And June is let me make sure I have it here, is the Ready, Set, Go month. Ready, Set, Go. And we are going to be talking about get ready for the ride, because June is going to be one hell of a ride. We are going to just massively take action, and we're going to make sure that you are taking action every single day of that month. Okay. So we will, and for those of you that can't get on, listen to our podcast or whatever you want to call this, on the off hours, listen to it again if you need to. Anyway, hoping that Gladiator Guru will be back on Tuesday, which I'm sure she will be. Have a fabulous weekend. Get out of that comfort zone. Think about what you want to do and start doing it. Go on a hike, do something. All right. Yes, you're right, Gail. Maybe we can do a take action group. I think that would be a fabulous idea. We could put it up on the Facebook page. All right. Thanks, everybody. From the Badass Buddha, remember, be you, be real, and be extraordinary. And from the Gladiator Guru, breathe in the beauty and breathe out that bullshit. Namaste, everyone.